Hey, what's going on, everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Crane's Chronicles. So today we're going to be talking about the Star City Games Cincinnati Classic. So we're going to give a little bit of context, show the deck list. I actually do have a tournament report for this. Again, haven't looked at the tournament report in a while, but I think it's probably going to be pretty solid. So before we start, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's going to help out the channel a lot, let me know, people are watching the videos here. And then we also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/commander_crane, same as before. If you can go ahead and follow that. I know we're going to be doing a giveaway soon. So yeah, we're just going to hop right into the video here. So a little bit of context before we talk about the tournament itself. So this was March of 2019. Yeah, 2019. So in December of 18 was when I had the top 8 in the Baltimore Classic. I don't think I went to any competitive events in that span. Maybe one PTQ, possibly, but I wouldn't have done good at it because, yeah, I don't remember anything. So, it was after Baltimore. I was still on Ponza. The meta for Modern was not good for Ponza still at the time. It was still... this is when it was finally moved into Is It Phoenix. This is because before it was Mono Red Phoenix, but now it's Is It. So there was Is It Phoenix, Dredge was still really big, and then there was, like Tron, Blue White, and all the other decks, which Tron and Blue White are great for Ponza. But Is It Phoenix and Dredge were not. So the original event was a team event. It was a Standard Modern Legacy, yep. So my one teammate had played Standard Gruul Aggro, and then my other teammate who played Legacy, he played Legacy Land. It was Legacy Lands. And then I was the Modern seat. Well, of course, I wanted to play Ponza, but my other teammates were, they said, we're not sure you should play Ponza, because it's not very good in the meta. And I tell them, like, you know what, I've got this list. It's actually pretty good against Is It Phoenix and Dredge. I'm like, let's do it. Long story short, I got told kind of accepted it that I had to play Tron. So I played Tron at this event, and I think I went 500 maybe. We didn't make day 2. I don't even remember much of the matches. I know I beat up on a lot of Is It Phoenix. I know I got turn 2 killed by Infect, games 1 and 2, and it stunk because both my hands were really, really, really good. I think it was turn 3 Karn, turn 4 Ulamog, like both games without even having to search for Tron lands. Like, my hand was ridiculous. But yeah, I don't remember too much about it. I know I beat Jund, but that's about it anyway. So yeah, we didn't make day 2. We didn't even really do that awesome, to be honest. So anyways, next day I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play in the Classic. So I had this Ponza list cooking for a little while. I know I hadn't done a lot of playtesting with it at the time. I did go to one event. I just remembered. I was at, there was a IQ in Frankenmuth, Michigan. I think it was January, maybe February, before this event. And I remember I didn't do very hot. I played, basically a list really similar to Baltimore. I basically played my Baltimore Ponza list, except for a couple random spicy includes, which I know a couple of them I actually played in this tournament, so I'm not going to spoil it yet. But I had a lot of Dredge and Phoenix matchups, and it didn't go very well. So I decided that, okay, so I'm going to cut a little bit of the core that's good against Tron and Blue Eye Control. I'm going to trim a little bit of that, which you'll see how in a second. And I started playing cards that were better against Is It Phoenix and Dredge. And it turns out it worked out pretty well. I ended up going 7-2 in the Classic, which was not good enough for top 8, unfortunately. I ended up making top 16. I got 16th. Got there on tiebreakers. I think there was one person that also was 7-2 or something. There wasn't a lot of 7-2s. Maybe there was like 2 more, but my tiebreakers ended up being pretty good because of Paul Muller. Paul Muller ended up getting... I think he was the 4th seed before the top 8. So he carried my tiebreakers because I actually ended up playing against him in round 4. I think round 4. Yeah. So he ended up actually helping me quite a bit with my tiebreakers, and I ended up just squeaking in at 16th. I know I've got more information on that. But at least leading into it, I don't think I really have a lot, though. I know I wanted to play Panza, and with the Classic, at least, it was like, you know, it wasn't a team event. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna play Panza. So I know at least also, I guess, one more tidbit was, I know the rest of my teammates all played Classics. A friend we went with, he wasn't on our team. He ended up actually top 8ing the Standard Classic. He had, I don't remember everybody he played, but he played against some of the, I think it was a lot of people on the SCG leaderboard. I don't remember who exactly. I want to say maybe Drake Sasser, but like he played some good opponents, and beat them. He ended up losing in the first round of top 8, but you know, he still had a great run. You know, it was nice because, you know, at least our little group showing, you know, he got top 8 and then I got top 16. You know, it looked pretty solid for us. So anyways, we're going to hop right into it here. I think we'll start with the deck list. Yeah, we'll start with the deck list, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that. I'm going to shrink my screen here. You can see my ugly interface. There we go. All right. So we're going to hop into the list. So here's the list. This is on old Star City games. So Gruul Panza, which was actually the first time I think they started calling it Panza. Before it was Red-Green Land Destruction. So 16th place at the Classic. All right. So it's a funky list. It's going to be a lot different, but long story short, I trimmed down a lot of the decks converted mana cost, cut a land, just wanted to be a little bit smaller and faster to a certain extent, and I think it worked out pretty good. So we're gonna start with the creatures. So 2 Wormcoil Engines. So this Wormcoil Engine was a card, you know, like obviously, you know, people only play it in Tron, and when I went to the IQ before this, I had one more 6-drop slot, and Inferno Titan just has not been very good. It just really wasn't doing it. So I'm like thinking of 6 drops I want to try. And Wormcoil Engine popped in my head, and I've always liked the worm creature type in Magic. And I'm like, you know, maybe Wormcoil Engine would be pretty good. Turns out, at that IQ, it was amazing. That card single-handedly won me a lot of games, kept me in a lot of games. A lot of people just don't expect Wormcoil Engine in Panza. You only see it in Tron. So I'm like, yeah, of course we're going to play Wormcoil Engine. So it was incredible. I think I only played one at the IQ. So then I started playing 2 Wormcoil Engines, and I moved the Carnage Tyrant to the board just because Control wasn't quite as big at the time. There wasn't as much of a reason to play Carnage Tyrant, at least in the main board. So I stuck, and I went down from 3 6-drops to 2, so I had to make the cut, so I moved Carnage Tyrant to the sideboard. So anyways, we got 2 Wormcoil Engine, 4 Arbor Elf, 2 Birds, pretty standard. So 2 Glorybringer. So Glorybringer, I hadn't been a huge fan of Glorybringer in Panza, but the main reason I started playing it was the key. I can't point to it because otherwise I'll lose because the card will disappear, I think. Will it? Oh, nope. Okay. So as a text, you do 4 damage. So obviously, for those who played that metagame, Thing in the Ice is an 0-4. So I started playing 2 Glorybringer specifically because white wasn't as dominant, so I didn't feel like I needed to play Stormbreath Dragon. And then the other reason being, I needed to kill Thing in the Ice, because Thing in the Ice is easily probably the best card against Panza. Like, it's by far, like, honestly, like, Arclight Phoenix, you can kind of deal with those a little bit, you can manage them, outmuscle them, but with Thing in the Ice, I mean, it's so hard to beat that card for Panza. So I was playing 2 Glorybringer specifically to beat that, and obviously it's good against other decks, you know, like it's pretty good against humans, you know, really any creature-based deck for the most part. Glorybringer is really good against, so it didn't feel terrible playing it at all. Felt really nice playing it, but that's the main reason I play it. Oh, and also it kills Crackling Drake, which obviously is pretty good too. All right, somebody's mentioned me in a comment something. But anyways, all right, so we go back to the spells. So we have one Huntmaster of the Fells. So spoiler alert, I wasn't playing Monthly Acid Moss in this list because I wanted to cut down the mana cost a little bit, go a little slower. It's like almost like a weird mixture of like there's like low cost Bloodbraid Elf stuff, Monster Panza. I was about right in the middle. So we played the one Huntmaster of the Fells. It was pretty good. Later in the report, you'll see Huntmaster single-handedly won me, basically made me not die against a humans player. Like, really nothing. I mean, it could have been any other 4-drop, and it wouldn't have won me it wouldn't have helped me win the game. So, mostly because it made 2 bodies, that was the That was the big part of it, and 2 life. I don't remember ever transforming this that often, to be honest with you. I think maybe one time, but yeah, it rarely ever transformed. So anyways, next card, Rekindling Phoenix. Okay, so the story of Rekindling Phoenix is, I really wanted to try this out because I was playing it in Standard, and I really liked playing it in Standard. I didn't play it more toward the end of Rivals of Ixalan, but it was really fun. It's a powerful card. I mean, you have to basically spend 2 cards at least to be able to take care of this thing, which against some decks is incredibly hard to take care of this thing. So I wanted to try it. It ended up being actually pretty solid. I know in my report I spoke very highly of it, but now looking back at it, like I was okay with playing it, but now I wouldn't play this card now personally. It's a good card. I just don't think Ponza is where you want to be at with this card. But it was really fun to play. I mean, sometimes a 4-power flyer, it just works. So next we got 4 Tireless Tracker, pretty standard. I know in a lot of my more recent lists, I play 3 trackers, but in here I was playing 4. It was pretty solid. And they got 1 P and Kira Nalar. So P and Kira Nalar, I wasn't playing a lot of them. This was actually the first tournament I ever played P and Kira Nalar in. I just had never been a big fan. I want to say I was playing maybe 2 before Rekindling Phoenix. I don't remember exactly. But basically, at this time, you wanted to stabilize a little bit more, give yourself some time. Turns out it actually beats Arclight Phoenixes pretty well. So that's why I was playing those. And I think the epiphany I had with this card was that you can sacrifice clues with Tireless Tracker and still buff your Tireless Tracker, because it says whenever you sacrifice a clue, and it's a sacrifice an artifact. So I know there was one time at least where I sacked a clue to shock them and killed them with lethal. I know that happened at least one time. So anyways, that's why I was playing the 1-up P and Kira Nalar. So we'll just jump over to the spells here. So we got 2 Trinisphere. So Trinisphere, incredible card, especially at the time. In the metagame, this card was incredible. It was good against so many different decks. I knew main board, a lot of people didn't expect it in the main board, so I tried 2 main board, worked really well. To shave off, though, I did end up only playing 2 Blood Moon, which I did cut 1 Blood Moon for a Trinisphere. I think the other one was considered to be an Acid Moss. Went down to 2 Blood Moon. Blood Moon was still pretty decent in the metagame, but wasn't as good. Hence why I was also playing the 1 in the sideboard, which feels so weird now, but I get it. 4 Topia Sprawl, pretty standard. 2 Lightning Bolt. 2 Lightning Bolt. So it's going to seem crazy that we were only playing 2 Lightning Bolts, but the reason is because we were playing 2 Flame Slash. So obviously, Lightning Bolt doesn't kill Thing in the Ice, whereas Flame Slash does. So Flame Slash was just that important in the metagame. Killing 4-power creatures was really relevant at the time. It was very, very good. Especially having to kill a Thing in the Ice. Like, you don't want to double bolt a Thing in the Ice. Like, that's just, you're not winning that. But the Flame Slash, clean answer. I know one of my, I'd say he's a good friend of mine, Andrew. He convinced me to play this card, and it was incredible. I mean, like, he knows the stuff, and he's like, now hear me out. Flame Slash. Played 2, awesome card. I think I played Flame Slash up until Faithless Looting got banned. I played Flame Slash for a couple months there. So we move into land destruction. We got 3 Molten Rains and 4 Stone Rains. Pretty standard for the most part. Not a lot to say about it, to be honest with you. Molten Rain, I think this is one of the few tournaments I actually did play Molten Rain in for the most part. Was obviously pretty good. And then, 4 Stone Rains, which actually, funny thing about the Stone Rains is I actually bought 4 beta ones when I was at this tournament, so it was really cool to play the beta Stone Rains. So we'll go to the rest of the spells here. We got 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance. This was I believe the first tournament I went up to 2 Chandra as opposed to 1. Keyword on that, it deals 4 to a creature. Kills Arclight, not Arclight, well, it does kill Arclight Phoenix, but kills Thing in the Ice. So, and then obviously, just an amazing card. 22 lands, basically the same as what it was before. 8 mountains, 1 forest, 8 forest, 1 mountain, 1 Keswick Wolf Run, 1 Misty, 3 Stomping Ground, 4 Windswept Teeth, 4 Woodful Hills. Only thing difference is I cut a forest. Other than that, same land package. Then we go to the sideboard. So 1 Gravedigger's Cage. So I was okay somewhat on the actual Graveyard Hate themselves against this deck, but I know the reason I wanted to play more solid removal was because of the fact that You know, if you play Grafdigger's Cage and then they just Abrade or the Echoing Truths, then you got nothing and then they go off. So I want to make sure I play more removal. So I only played 1 Grafdigger's Cage and 2 Relic of Progenitus, which was the same, I believe, as Baltimore. We got the 1 Carnage Tyrant. So instead of playing Rurik Thar, which would have been pretty okay in this tournament, looking back, I wanted to play the 1 Carnage Tyrant to give me more leverage against some of the mid-range decks, like the Rock and Blue-White Control, stuff like that. So 2 Kitchen Finks, mostly was supposed to be brought in for burn and such. Never brought them in. I never brought in Kitchen Finks. Never. So it felt weird playing it, but I understood why I did. 2 Scavenging is pretty standard, you know, good against so many different decks, you know, it's good against Jund, pretty okay against Blue-White Control, stops Snapcaster Mage, good against Dredge, good against Phoenix, and you'll see, actually, this card was actually very, very clutch later on in the tournament. 1 Blood Moon, just in case, you know, I'm playing against Tron, Scapeshift, which I did play against Scapeshift, too. So it was nice to have that. 1 Raking Canopy. So for those who don't know what this card is, 3 mana, green, 1. Whenever a creature with flying attacks you, Raking Canopy deals 4 damage to it. So basically, no one's attacking you with an Arc-like Phoenix, or a Crackling Drake, or a Mana Strider. The card's crazy. I mean, nobody really knew what this card was at the time. It was when it started getting a little hot. I purchased a couple copies. I think I still own 1 to 2 copies of it. I don't play it, though. But yeah, it's one of those funny cards. It almost reminds me of a card that, like a new player who's playing a green deck, and their friend's playing, like, this blue-white Flyers deck, and you're getting wrecked by them. So you go on TCG Player and you put like 4 of those in your deck, and then your friend is like, I can't attack. That's what that card reminds me of. So, but it was pretty good though. Like, I played it, I think I only played it 1 time. It was against my Izzet Phoenix player in round 2, I think, 2 or 3. And yeah, I played it game 2 and he couldn't beat it. He didn't attack me the rest of the game, was able to clean up the rest of his creatures, and went from there. So we got the 1 Raking Canopy. We got 2 Rending Volley. So this was also pre-Fry. The Fry was not a card yet. So playing Rending Volley, came counter spells abilities, 4 damage to a target white or blue creature. Obviously, you know, it's basically like another Flame Slash. Against Izzet Phoenix, most of the time I just took out the bolts and put in the Rending Volleys. I'm pretty sure I did that. Or maybe I cut the Blood Moons. I don't remember. But having, you know, all that removal was really, really nice. Super clean answer for Thing in the Ice. And it was also really good against humans, too. I brought it in against humans. So 2 Anger of the Gods, pretty standard. It's a board wipe. You know, it's a board wipe. And then we got the 1 Shatterstorm. So, my memory's a little fuzzy, but I want to say it was Hardened Scales Affinity was pretty decent at this time. Maybe even just regular Affinity. I know it was still a deck, so it was basically just a catch-all. I don't remember if KCI was still a thing. It might be just got banned. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But yeah, obviously 1 Shatterstorm, pretty self-explanatory. So here was the list here. I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description too if you want to, you know, take a look at it for yourself or look at the results or, you know, whatever you want to do. I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description. So I would talk about the matches, but I already have the report here. So we're just going to read through the report here, and then we'll go over any last thoughts or anything I have. But yeah, so we're going to hop into it here. So, and I wrote this out on, for the Ponza page on Facebook, so that's why a lot of this, you know, is going to be in this tone. But anyways, you know, this is mostly just a catch-all because of players that don't agree with what I play. So this is what I personally think Ponza should look like. If you like to run cards that aren't in this list, that's fine. A lot of voice were on Ponza, so tune to your own playstyle, which is still true. Results went 7-2, got 16th out of 239 players. I think there was more than that. It was just that a bunch of them dropped. That was like the final results, I think. Deck played amazing. I love the changes I made since Baltimore in December. So there's the list. We already know the list. So matches. 1-2 Death Shadow, which I'm going to go over all the reports because I remember some of the matches. 2-1 Izzet Phoenix. 2-0 Blue-White Spirits. 0-2 Izzet Phoenix. 2-0 Scapeshift, 2-1 Humans, 2-1 Dredge, 2-0 Amulet Titan, 2-0 Ad Nauseam. So I made the comeback from 2-2 to make top 16, which was so nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie to you. It was... I was on the edge of my seat basically every time, especially these ones where it was... I think against Humans and Dredge, I also lost the first game, so I had to make the super comeback. So anyways, we're going to go to the overview. So round 1, long story short, he had amazing tempo games 2 and 3. I only won game 1 because he went to 4, and I cast Glorybringer when he only one man with his member. So, to put this into perspective, he was at 4 life. I cast Glorybringer, attacked with it. he left 1 mana open for Dismember. The only problem is he only had 1 mana to pay, so he had to pay 4 life. The problem is he was at 4. So he either dies casting the Dismember or dies to Glorybringer's damage. So I cheesed him. Like, he had a Gurmag Angler. Like, he was probably gonna win the game, but I cheesed him. So it was so dumb, but I got the first game. And then second and third game, he just had really good tempo. Like, I mean, it was like he just answered everything. Like, you know, game 1, like, he Thoughtseize and like ate my Utopia Sprawl, and then like I didn't have a turn 1 or 2 play, and then turn 3 he like Stubborn out my Blood Moon. Like, it was like, and then the third game, I won the first game, and then the second game, then the third game he like pushed my Arbor Elf, and then like he just had everything. I couldn't stop him. It's a very 50-50 matchup. I still firmly believe that, but he just had great tempo. So start off 0-1. Round 2, Izzet Phoenix. Mainboard Flame Slash, MVP, Slash, and Glorybringer are amazing against Thing in the Ice. Rekindling Phoenix forced them to use 2 removal spells to completely remove, which was amazing in this matchup. Raking Canopy game 2 was lights out. Yep. So, I thought I said 2-1. Maybe I didn't. 2 was lights out. Oh, he won the first game. That's right. Okay. So, yeah, Flame Slash was awesome. I definitely remember in game, I think it was game 2, he didn't see not Raking Canopy, Flame Slash the first game. So he went turn 2, just, you know, boom. And I went turn 2, because I went Arbor Elf, because he was on the play. He went turn 1, Faithless Loading. I went turn 1, Arbor Elf. He went turn 2, I think, Thing in the Ice. I don't remember. It's so fuzzy. But anyways, yeah, I just remember catch him completely off guard with Flame Slash. And yeah, Raking Canopy, he had to read that, and he got pretty salty after he saw it. And I don't blame him, like, yeah, so it worked out pretty well. Round 3, Blue-White Spirits. What can I say? It's hard for your opponent to cast spells with 1 land. Glorybringer was MVP. So, I remember this a little bit. I remember the first game, I just plowed through him. The second game, he got stuck at 2 mana, and it kind of screwed him a little bit, because he did play turn 1 nothing, turn 2 Thalia, and he didn't draw any more lands. He drew, what was it? Because then the next turn, I think I played Pink Kieran Nalar, and then he didn't draw a land, and then I just started Stone Raining him, and then he drew a land after I Stone Rained him, and there was just nothing he could really do. So, Glorybringer's MVP 2-1. I definitely think he tried to Phantasmal Image my Glorybringer, and he tried to exert on my Glorybringer, which you can't do that. I feel like I definitely remember that too, but... Round 4 is at Phoenix. This one was against Paul Muller. Had great openers both games, but drew terribly both games. No Sideboard Tech or Wormcoil. So I definitely remember in game 2, I believe I had all 4 of my Arbor Elves and 2 Utopia Sprawls. So I had a ridiculous amount of mana. And yeah, like, my openers were awesome. Like, I had such great openers. Like, I think even game 1, I had like 2 1-drops, a Trinisphere, and like a Pink Kieran, but I just drew nothing but lands. Like, if I would have drawn some of our stompy creatures, I probably could have at least won one of those games. But yeah, I just drew so bad. So yeah, at this point, 2-2, I knew I was dead for top 8 basically, but I was going to keep playing for top 16. Glad I didn't do that. So Escape Shift, best matchup you can possibly have. Moon both games, couldn't pay green for Pact in game 2, won the match in 10 minutes. Yeah, this was incredibly fast. I just remember first game just beating up on him. I think it was turn 2 Blood Moon on the play against Escape Shift, and then I think I went turn 3 Rekindling Phoenix, and my PC's almost dead. So I'm going to plug that in. But yeah, so it was basically just a butt whooping. And then game 2, I had a turn 3 Blood Moon on the draw. And then he, I had turn 3 Blood Moon, turn 4 Trinisphere. So, yeah, he pacts for Reclamation Sage, untaps, he's like, pay for Pact. I said, you only have 1 green, and you need 2 green for Pact. And he died. So, which, I don't even know if he realized it, to be honest, and I thought for a second, I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose my Blood Moon. I'm like, wait a second. So, no, worked out pretty good. And yeah, like, that was quick. I mean, it was a 10-minute match for the most part. Yeah, it was that quick. It was that quick. And he This is one of the few players that I played against in competitive Magic that were like really, really salty that I played Ponza. Like I remember after first game, he's like, "Oh, I don't lose to Ponza. I don't lose to Ponza." And like, I don't know, he just was not happy that I was playing Ponza. I don't blame him, I guess, but I was like, wow. It was round 6 humans. I thought the game 1 was over, but then drew Huntmaster to stay alive, then stabilized with 2 Tireless Tracker. That's right, okay. Drew 8 extra cards the entire game to cast Glorybringer with 2 bolts. I do remember that. I remember that was how I killed him, was I basically... The turn I won was I Glorybringer exerted to kill his Meddling Mage, naming Lightning Bolt, and then double bolted him for lethal. And then game 2 got smashed. Yeah, I remember he went like turn 1 Aether Vial. It was like turn 2, like Champion into Meddling Mage, naming Bolt, and then like turn 3 he went. I think it was like Thalia's Lieutenant, trigger on the stack, Violent another Thalia's Lieutenant or something. Like it was absurd. Like he smashed me. And then game 3, triple Tireless Tracker was unbeatable. Yeah, that whole game, I went turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 Tireless Tracker, turn 3 Tireless Tracker land, turn 4 Tireless Tracker Crack Clues. Like I just went Crack Clue, Crack Clue, Crack Clue. I think I had like I finished the game with I think like a 9-8, an 8-7, and an 8-7 Tireless Tracker. Like it was absurd or something like that. So. Yeah, like it was crazy. It was like one of those... And that games like that is what makes it really hard for me not to want to play Tireless Tracker, because then you get games like that where they can't answer Tireless Tracker and you just run them over while drawing cards. Like Tireless Tracker is such an incredible card. Honestly, really underrated, especially in the Pioneer format. So anyways, 4-2. At this point, we're feeling pretty good. I know, just got to win the last... We got two more. Round 7, Dredge. Well, 3 more. Lost game 1 by a lot. Games 2 and 3, Scavenging Ooze carried me to victory. Turns out a Scavenging Ooze with 7 1/1 counters on it wins games. So, yeah, that was what happened. Like, first game ran me over. Second game, I think it was like turn 3, I drew the Scavenging Ooze. And at this point, I had like 6 mana, I think. So I just went, Scooze, eat your Dredger, eat your Dredger, eat your Dredger, eat your Dredger. This guy actually was kind of scummy, now that I remember this, because I remember the one turn, I asked him if he had any Dredgers in his graveyard. Like, I guess I could have looked. But I was like, do you have any Dredgers in your graveyard? And he said no. And at his upkeep, he dredged 3 with Life of the Loam. And I asked him if he had any Dredgers. So, it was a little scummy. I don't know if he did it on purpose, or I think he did. But anyways, I mean, he did it one time, and then I had a Blood Moon in play, so he couldn't do anything else. I'm like, all right, whatever. So yeah, Scavenging Ooze was incredible. He couldn't answer. I was so scared of Lightning Axe too, especially in game 3. If he would have had Lightning Axe, that would have been game, honestly. So no, that was one of those crazy comeback wins. So round 8, Amulet Titan. Game 1, I spent turns 2 and 3 playing Stone Rains, played a Blood Moon when I drew it, because I remember I didn't play it till like turn 4 or 5. Game 2, he had a bad hand, and Tireless Tracker cleaned up the mess. Yeah, so with game 2, I didn't have a Blood Moon at all. I think I just played Tireless Tracker, and I think I Stone Rained him once or twice. I don't remember, his name's Adam. He's a really good Amulet player. I know he's been playing Amulet Titan, I think, for a while. Really good player. Seemed a little salty that I was playing Ponza. But again, I don't blame him. I don't. So, round 9, Ad Nauseam. So, originally, with my record, I thought I was going to be able to draw into the top 16 for some reason. I'm not super good with tiebreaker stuff, but... So anyways, I thought I could draw and make top 16. I knew I couldn't make top 8. So, and then after consulting with a friend of mine, he's like, no, you gotta play. You gotta play this out. Like, you might barely get top 16 if you play it out and win. So I'm like, all right. So, playing against Ad Nauseam, and it was really weird too, because I was on like the end of the one table, because all the people that were live for top 8, they all drew or whatever. So I was like the second highest match actually playing. And it was weird because I was on a corner table, so like everybody could watch. So there was at least like 30 people watching this match. It was ridiculous. So I didn't know what I was playing against going into this either. I had no clue. I was actually sat next to Cat Light, funny enough. Yeah. So he goes, I don't remember if I was on the play or not, to be honest. All I remember is him going turn 1, Temple of Enlightenment, and immediately I just like sank. Because I knew exactly what he was playing. So with Ad Nauseam, like, you know, for those who don't know the deck, you combo with the card Ad Nauseam. You play a card that says, oh, I can't die. Draw your whole deck. Lightning Storm with all your lands, you kill him. So it's a pretty simple combo deck, and with it, like, it's definitely very beatable for Panza. You just have to disrupt them. Like, once they get to that point where they can cast it, you're screwed, but you can easily stop them from doing it, especially with cards like Trinisphere and stuff like that. So I definitely remember, Blood Moon on turn 2. I had the Blood Moon, and he cast nothing the whole game. He didn't do anything. And then game 2, I had a turn 3 Blood Moon on the draw because he didn't cast anything. Yeah, I kept it, but I was like, well, it's probably good enough unless he has a fast hand. And so I don't know exactly what ad nauseum sideboards, to be honest. I know like they normally play like a Supreme Verdict and like some other stuff, but I had no clue. So I go Blood Moon on turn 3 on the draw. He's got all the mana. I'm like, he's going to Spell Pierce it or negate or something. And he's like, yep, resolves. Which I was like, what? No way. It doesn't resolve. So, yeah, stole the game, I feel like. Honestly, both games. But yeah, and also a fun note, I used Chandra Torture Defiance Emblem both games to win. Yeah, I won with Chandra Emblem, and then was like, spell, like, Arbor Elf, you take 5. Yeah, it was pretty silly. But, yeah, so, won 7-2, top 16. So, yeah, that was awesome. I thought I was for sure into the top 16. Like, I thought I was going to get, like, 10th or something. No, I got 16th on the dot. So, it was close. Super duper close. But we got there. We ended up getting there, which, honestly, like, it was only a top 16, but honestly, it felt really good still. Like, honestly, it still feels just as good as a top 8, like, personally, like, accomplishment-wise. Just because, you know, like, 7-2 is that's a pretty good record. I mean, 7-2 is definitely not the easiest thing to do, and especially with, I mean, like, looking at this, like, a lot of these matchups were not great. I mean, there's a 50-50, there's a bad matchup, 50-50, bad matchup, awesome matchup. That's probably like a 60-40, so that's a little out of favor, bad matchup, awesome matchup, and I don't know with Ad Nauseam, to be honest. It's like, Ad Nauseam is the kind of deck with Panza where the deck that wins is going to make the other deck look really bad. It's kind of like how, like, Humans Jeskai Control works. So, yeah. But anyways, sideboard notes. Didn't bring in Finks one game. Seems unnecessary if you're not playing against Burn. Didn't need Shadowstorm, but dodged War Prison and Affinity. See, I was right. I knew I had that for a reason. Third Moon came in quite a bit. Raking Canopy should likely be a 2 of. Rending Volley is great as well. Against popular opinion, Finks needs to go. I don't even know if I agree with that now, but at least play Obstinate Baloth. Due to War Prison, Izzy Finks playing Pyromancer's Ascension now might add 2 natural state. Okay, I can kind of dig that, I guess, to a certain extent. That was also before Return to Nature. That would have been a good card. Main board notes. Rekindling Phoenix is great. Seemed great in all my matchups. Might cut the Huntmaster for another one. For a long time I didn't like Glorybringer, but the Flame Slash and a 4/4 flyer is so great since Thing in the Ice is now a big threat. Wormcoil Engine is the new 6-drop of choice. Titan isn't playable right now, meaning Inferno Titan. Just play Wormcoil, do yourself a favor. Trinisphere main is great too. Is it Phoenix? Can't win game 1 with it landing turn 2 or 3. Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, there's not even a lot they can do against it in general. I mean, So, changes since Baltimore. 2 things, main things I need to say. Wormcoil's new 6-drop, already said that. SMOS is too slow. I cut 2 6-drops, made the deck a lower curve. Meta is fast the most, so you have to be fast as well. Yeah, I can agree to that. Yeah, because I knew that's why I cut the Acid Mosses. I mostly cut them for, like, Pink Kieran, Nalar, Huntmaster, and I think technically for the Trinisphere. So what I changed, main board, -1 Molten Rain, -1 Huntmaster, +1 Blood Moon, +1 Rekindling Phoenix. Okay. I definitely agree to the Blood Moon, but definitely not the Rekindling Phoenix. Man, I wish Quest to be used as a card at the time. Sideboard, -1 Blood Moon, +1 Raking Canopy, -2 Kitchen Finks, -2 Naturals. Yeah, I think I agree to that, to be honest with you. So, final thoughts. Land Structure is not dead, not trying to find anyone, but the Rhythm of the Wild aggro deck is terrible. Okay, so I remember this part. So, at the time, a lot of Panza players were switching to, like, this Rhythm of the Wild aggro deck because, like, Panza wasn't playable at the time because of Dredge and Is It Phoenix. So they were trying to do this really, really crappy Rhythm of the Wild crap, basically. I remember seeing this deck, I'm like, this looks like a worse version of every aggro deck in the format. I mean, like this deck, like this Rhythm of the Wild aggro deck stood no chance against humans. Like, it was just bad. Like, the only land destruction elements, like, the only Ponza elements they played like, 4 Blood Moons, I think, and then, like, 2 Stone Rains or something like that, or 2 Molten Rains. Like, it made no sense to play this deck. I'm like, I remember looking at this pile, and I'm like, what is this crap? So, yeah, that was terrible. Anybody that was playing that deck, like, sorry if you like playing Rhythm of the Wild aggro, like, it's cool. I like the card. I just don't think it's good for Modern. Like, Pioneer? Probably, yeah, but, like, not for Modern. You can't be playing a 3-mana enchantment that doesn't mess with your opponent or helps you further win the game by that much in Modern. You can't do it. I mean, like, you gotta play Blood Moons, Trinisphere, Stone Rain, Pillage, Molten Rain, Tireless Tracker. There's more. I mean, like, if you're playing Rhythm of the Wild, I'm like, whatever. It resolves. So anyways, yeah, it's a worse version of other aggro decks in the format. Yep. Also, give Volcanic Phoenix and Wormcoil a try. I don't agree with Volcanic Phoenix, but Wormcoil Engine is incredible in Ponza. Still to this day, I still play Wormcoil Engine in Ponza. It's ridiculous. The card is incredible. If you think you want to play Ponza, I'd play Wormcoil still. You look at the results, but the main thing to know about Ponza is play what you think is best. If anyone has any questions, feel free to comment or message me personally. Whatever. But yeah, this is still true. Main thing to know about Ponza is play what you think's best. If regardless of whatever the main list is, if you want to play Thragtusk as your 5-drop, play Thragtusk as your 5-drop. If you want to play whatever, I mean, like, that's the nice thing about Ponza is an extremely customizable deck. If your pet card is Obstinate Baloth, play Obstinate Baloth. That's still not that bad. You can play, even just the 4-drops. Like, what do we have that's really good? You've got options like, you got, like, Questing Beast, you've got Piankir Nalar, you've got Huntmaster of the Fells, you've got, if you want to play, like, Mavli Acid Moss is, like, more ramp, you can play that. You can play Chandra Torch of Defiance. There's definitely more, I just can't think of all of them. According to me, Shifting Ceratops. People would disagree with me, though. I don't know, there's more, I just can't think of them. But, yeah, it's so customizable, and then especially with the 3-drops. Don't even get me started with the 3-drops, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's what I like about Ponza, is you can play, like the whole reason I started playing Ponza, especially, is because I wanted to play cards like Wormcoil Engine, Glorybringer, Carnage Tyrant. That was, like, the whole reason I started playing Ponza. I didn't start playing Ponza so I could troll people with Stone Rain necessarily. I started playing it because I want to play monsters. Like this, the cards like this is what I want to play. Like this is a deck that I love to play. So, but anyways, that's all I've got for you. I'm going to get back to full screen here. There we go. All right. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today on another story. I promise the Pokemon people that follow me, I promise I'm going to do a Crane's Chronicles for Pokemon. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do as the first story, but I'm figuring it out. But again, really appreciate you guys for watching the video here. If you guys like it, let me know in the comments, I don't know. Do people like these? Do people not like these? I'm not sure. But anyways, I really appreciate you guys for joining me today. Hope you have a great rest of your week.